Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
I only found out today that them rumours were just rumours. That you got 7 people pregnant.
Today I'm going to be talking about the most down bad and creepy man on the entire internet, which is Paul Breach, or Beauty Beyond the Eye. This is actually the second time I've talked about Paul Breach. I'm sure most of you guys have heard of Paul Breach at some point because there's been multiple YouTubers who've made multiple videos on him because he's been caught doing some pretty horrible things a lot of times. But if you've never heard of Paul Breach, I'll be reminding you guys of how he blew up in the first place. So when Paul Breach first emerged from hell, he was just a cringy TikTok creator. But I like to call Paul the definition of cringe, because his content was just that bad.
Teacher dancing.
So originally, this is what Paul blew up for, being probably the cringiest person alive. But almost 99% of the time, somebody who looks like Paul Breach always has something weird about them, which is what everyone who watches him thought, and they couldn't be any more right. And after some digging on a lot of Paul Breach's profiles on a ton of different websites, people found some pretty disturbing things. Starting out with Paul Breach's Instagram, people dug through his likes and found out that he was liking pictures of a 16-year-old girl. And every picture Paul seemed to like was a more exposing picture of this 16-year-old girl, including bikini and graduation photos. Paul Breach's response to this is that the 16-year-old was dealing with cancer and he was being a good person by liking her pictures, because in his eyes, he's supporting them.
I will also say the ladies' pictures that I've liked, like I said this morning, she suffered with cancer when she was growing up. So I will like her prom pictures because she survived to be a prom. I will like the other pictures because she was confident at posting, even though she's recovered and was recovering from cancer.
But keep in mind that Paul Breach was 38 years old when he did this, and no normal 38-year-old is gonna pick the bikini pictures to like out of every picture on the girl's Instagram. But let's say Paul was telling the truth here. He's not. So obviously he's a really good person, right? If anyone actually believed what Paul said here, I genuinely feel bad for you, because this is nowhere near the first time he's done something like this. And we know this because, like I said, people did digging into multiple profiles of Paul Breach across multiple different websites. A couple of those websites being FacePic and FaceParty, which I'm pretty sure don't even exist anymore. And what Paul was caught doing on these websites was sending some pretty disturbing messages to 16 and 17-year-old girls, who had their age in their bio, by the way, so Paul definitely knew that these people were 16 and 17. By the way, Paul Breach was 23 years old when he sent these messages. Some of the messages that Paul sent said things like, "Wow, this girl is so yummy, she has the most amazing eyes," to a 16-year-old female in the United Kingdom. This message says, "Hey honey, you're gorgeous and so nice," to a 17-year-old female in the United Kingdom. And then whatever this message is supposed to mean. After people dug up these old messages, Paul, being Paul, obviously denied everything. But we pretty much know for a fact that this was Paul messaging these girls because they also dug up his old profile that he had on these websites. And if this profile doesn't look like Paul Breach made it, I don't know what profile would. And the profile literally said blonde, blue eyes, 5'9", which is Paul Breach. If you guys think everything I just talked about is bad, wait until you hear about the next thing I'll be talking about, because I promise you Paul only gets worse. And this is when Paul was exposed for impregnating a 17-year-old girl when he was 27 years old at the time. So 4-ish years after he was initially messaging 16 and 17-year-olds. People figured out that Paul did this again by digging through his old profiles, and this time it was his Facebook account. And Paul's Facebook account had an old post where he was showing off his girlfriend's baby bump. But when people looked deeper into the person in these pictures, they found out that they would have been 17 and 4 months old, with an already visible baby bump. The way people figured out her age is just by lining up the dates, because the girl in the picture's birthday is November 1990, and the photos with her and the baby bump was taken in April 2008. There really is no way out of this one for Paul, and there is some very needed karma waiting for this guy. And karma is actually what he got. Well, kinda. Because after being exposed multiple times, Paul actually went homeless for over a year, and he would have some pretty interesting interactions with people. Paul obviously didn't want anyone to know that he was homeless, so his go-to excuse for when anyone asked is that he was wild camping.
Why am I in a tent? Because I'm wild camping.
Honestly, not a bad idea by Paul, because he was staying in a tent with a sleeping bag, so it does kind of look like that. But after who knows how long, Paul eventually did admit that he was homeless. And sadly, not too long after this, Paul did get back on his feet. Paul being homeless for only a year is honestly short-lived karma, because I feel like everyone should know by now that people like Paul have the greatest homeless arcs. And when I say great, I mean horrible. What I do find hilarious, though, is that anytime Paul is found in public, people confront him now. Obviously, you should never confront people like this, because who knows when their breaking point is, and if they're gonna take it out on you or not. But these clips of Paul being confronted in public are honestly pretty funny.
With beauty beyond the eye.
There's a video.
Yeah. Say I'm a pedo.
Enjoy yourselves. Alright, you ready?
You're a pedo.
No, go on.
Yo, what?
So why am I near you?
Oi, why do you talk 16-year-old girls?
What?
Why do you talk 16-year-old girls?
Who's 16?
Huh?
Who's 16? Why are you filming this? Should we go talk to the police? Should we ring
No,
the police? No,
no.
should we do this? Have a chat with the police? Why are you trying to video?
I'll just go away.
Nancy rumours. So before you came here, I actually didn't even research it here, and I'd spoke to you personally, and I just thought like a lot of shit was rumours. And then obviously I spoke to that Louisa, who's like dedicated to taking you down but doesn't show her own face. Shout out to her. I only found out today that them rumours weren't just rumours. That you got 17-year-old pregnant.
I'm a horrible human.
That is fucked
but
up.
I'm fine. I'm fine. You can not like me. You can like me.
But you've got to
but I
understand
fucking
why
do.
people don't like that.
People don't. People, you might call me names under the sun, but your biggest issue
No, but not
is
even
my
calling-
dancing's
not-
bad or
yeah,
my jumping's well
But not even about
So,
how to call your names. You got to understand why people have an issue with that.
people got issues with anything.
17-year-old girls are like impressionable.
Everybody's impressionable. I'm impressionable.
You're saying that like
The crazy thing about that last clip is that something I don't find funny about that last clip is that Paul said he doesn't understand why people have a problem with the fact that he got a 17-year-old pregnant. Genuinely, how dumb could you be to not see the problem with something like that? But moving on to the real reason why, there's an entire second video on my channel about Paul Breach, and that's because his sanity is genuinely deteriorating in front of our eyes. So unfortunately enough, Paul has a girlfriend now, and what makes this even worse is that Paul now has a stepdaughter because his girlfriend has a daughter. And ever since Paul got this girlfriend, he's been posting nothing but cross-dressing videos on his TikTok, where he'll literally wear his girlfriend's clothing, including some pieces of clothing that men should just not be wearing at all. And literally anybody could see why I'm saying this.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Like, there's just no way wearing that thing is comfortable in any way. Some of the stuff Paul wears is more respectable because the clothing is more normal and not like the black thing he was wearing. It seems like being exposed this many times for so many horrible things really took a toll on Paul. And at this point, it's genuinely looking like he needs some real help, because just look at this video. This is how almost every single one of his newer videos is now, with every caption being pretty much identical. But it's looking like Paul went back to his roots of being the cringiest person alive. But it doesn't stop at just wearing his girlfriend's clothing. Like I mentioned, his new girlfriend also has a daughter, basically making it Paul's stepdaughter. At least that's what he considers her. And yes, this is going exactly where you think it is. Paul was recently caught on live stream wearing his stepdaughter's bodysuit, which is just vile. And you know it's bad when Paul Breach was kind of startled when his girlfriend saw him wearing it, because he knows how fucking weird this is to do.
I'll sort the hoovering out in a minute, John.
Yeah. I wanted to do it, but since I didn't want to bother you.
Since I'm just out here performing. Yeah, but I'll just hoover it. Don't worry about that. Unless you have to move that mattresses that way and stuff. We'll go do the hoovering in a minute. Ooh, I might change outfits to do the hoovering, to be honest.
Really? Why?
Why? Because it's hot. It's warm in this. I might go back to being manly. Not that I'm not manly wearing this. Feel comfortable in who you are, guys. Be comfortable in what you're wearing. Be the sunrises in your own existences. Hurrah! I want to be fabulous. And then you get down and down and baby, down, down. Oh, gosh, very warmed. Chloe, thanks for following. There's no fancy button. There's just an on-off button with your Hoover. There's no fancy buttons. It's just on-off.
I wish there were any fancy buttons.
So just plug it in that and just on-off, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll work that.
But
I can work that
do
out.
it,
You're
no
picking.
problem.
Yeah, but I'm going to do it.
Okay.
I said to your mum yesterday that I would give it the place Hoover, so... and I've got to move everything around in here to do it and show off my muscles to myself, because I've come off live. Don't get excited. You're not going to watch me Hoover, guys. Google hoovering. Toby, thanks for love you. Huh? They've told me off for having my trousers low. My hips are here. Like literally my hips. This is where my jeans sit. Fucking hell. Toby, thanks for love you. Like my hips are my hips. I can't alter my body. I'm being body shamed here. You're upsetting me. I can't believe you've upset me.
Oh,
Yeah, hello.
We have a visitor.
Hello, you. Yeah.
Paul Breach is definitely somebody I hoped didn't come back this year, especially dressed like this. But unfortunately, it looks like that's not gonna be the case. Because Paul found new content that people somewhat interact with, and that's dressing in his girlfriend's clothing. The allegations have clearly gotten to this guy's head. And don't even ask how Paul managed to get a girlfriend in the first place, because I have no idea. Even though he has had girlfriends in the past, they all left him because of the allegations specifically. But anyways, that's pretty much all you need to know about Paul Breach's past and present. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and thank you for watching.
We did it! Yay! We SEMA. We did it!
No DJ Khaled, but we the best. Them chops howling.